Hi, I'm Dylan. I'm one of the co-founders of Amika. We think that teams should start building agents that automate their own team's software development process. That's what Amika is. We're infra and APIs that let teams build their own software factories to automate any type of coding task across the software development lifecycle. So let's look at one example in Linear, where you can use Amika to auto-implement every single issue in a Linear project. So I have this example website here, and let's say I want to change a few things. I want to change the title to say hello world. I want to change this background from sort of green or blue to red. And I also want to move some of the sections on this website around. And just for fun, we're going to add basically a bash terminal into this website. If I select every one of these issues, and then I can give them a label, and we're just going to give it agent fix. And under the hood, what's going to happen is Amika will pick up all of these issues, and it's going to implement each one in a sandbox where the agent can test against the running code base. And it's going to end up pushing these to GitHub as PRs. So we come over here and we actually see it did spin up every single one of these. So these are working in the background. If you want, you can also go and connect to one of them. So I could go and connect in here, and this is just a Linux VM, but the agent is controlling this, and it's totally sandboxed and isolated and safe from the rest of your data. So you can kind of let the agent run wild. And we can see in here that it should be running Claude, so it's working on a fix. So let's just wait a bit for these PRs to show up in GitHub. I want to point out that each one of these sandboxes is actually running a front-end server. So this one here, it's running the entire application that's working on, and here it changed the background color from this blue color to red. And then the agent can mess around with these applications. It could open up a browser, look at the changes, or it could try making API requests to the back end. So each of these is a real computer that the agent's controlling to make the changes. And then if we look at GitHub, we can come to the pull requests, and we can see it implemented all of these things. So we changed the background color, moved some of the contents around, changed the title, added a terminal, and I can just review these changes here. The agent put a link back to the Linear ticket, and if I give feedback on a change, I can leave a comment, and I can just say, Amika, fix this color, it should be brighter. And now my workflow is less about instructing each individual agent and more about setting up a automation where I can have a bunch of agents do work at once, and then I can go review all that work and send it back to the agent to finalize. So with Amika, what we're trying to do is make it so you can take any part of your software development and turn it into a higher level automation. This is stuff like creating changes based on your Linear tickets, or adding a more agentic CI/CD that automatically cleans up the work that the agent does and tweaks it to follow your coding standards and to be correct. The point here is that you start spending time building the automations that spin up code changes and then drive them to a mergeable state. And then you can just spend some time reviewing. Instead of having to babysit 5 different agents at once, you just fire them all off, go review their work, and then merge.